All right, so one of the biggest questions or issues that you likely have if you're a service-based entrepreneur, you're thinking about going and launching your very first business. Maybe you already have and you're having a difficult time scaling beyond that 5-6 figure mark. Maybe you're an accountant, maybe you're a graphic designer, a copywriter, whatever, right? Like you have a skill set and you can go out there and you can deliver value to a very particular subset of people or businesses in exchange for value, right? But for whatever reason, you might be having a hard time scaling and growing and like really maximizing the opportunity in front of you. You might be scratching your head and be like, what am I doing wrong here? Well, I want to give you 3 things to think about that will help you maximize that skill set so you can apply it towards the best opportunity vehicle available. Because as Warren Buffett said, it's not about how hard you row, it's about which boat you're in. If you're in the wrong boat, then it doesn't matter if you're the greatest designer in the world, right? And the most the classic example of this is the newspaper industry. Like over the last 15 years, the newspaper industry has been on this slow, and maybe not so slow, but a very steady, rapid decline. And so if that is a market, if you've been out there trying to sell advertisements or your copywriting or your design work to newspapers, then yeah, you are grabbing up, you're trying to grab ever more of this shrinking market, and it's going to be difficult. So instead, what you want to be thinking about is, am I applying my skill set in the right direction towards the right opportunities? And here's the 3 ways to think about this. Number 1 is you want to think about, where is my skill set in short supply? That is, where is there an industry, a segment of people who are currently being underserved? And there's just not enough people in that market. At the very end, I'm going to give you an example of how this can all tie together. But number 1 is you want to make sure that you are servicing a industry that is in short supply of the thing that you have. Number 2, the corollary to this, and this is just as important, it can't just be short supply. It needs to be in short supply and in high demand. So it needs to be a market that's underserved, and they recognize this, and they say we need more help. But for whatever reason, there's just not enough to go around within that particular industry. The last thing is, in addition to being in short supply and being in high demand, you want to make sure that your services can deliver outsized returns within that industry. This is important because if you take your skill and you apply it towards mediocre opportunities, you might be able to add value to some business. Let's say they're a local landscaping business and you're a graphic designer. There might be a low supply. There's not a lot of graphic designers servicing that industry. There might be high demand because there's a lot of landscaping companies and they need to go get customers, right? But the problem is you can only help them get so many more customers before they hit the upper limit of what they can service, right? And so that is a capped industry for you. And so that might not be the one that you want to go and target. Whereas the flip side of this is, in real estate, what we recognized a number of years ago with Invictus is that the market of real estate, of private opportunities for limited partners to go invest, there was this short supply of talented marketers who could tell a story about the buildings, about the investment opportunities, who could sell these investment opportunities to the average person who has maybe never thought about real estate, right? There was a short supply of people with that skill. It was in high demand because it was tied to the fact that there was very large outsized returns capable of being generated for somebody who could take that skill of marketing, of taking a story and wrapping this investment opportunity in that story to deliver to their customer. So the skill of story selling is something that we've used to great effect at Invictus over the last number of years to make tens of millions of dollars, to create almost $100 million of value. That's what happens when you apply a skill set to the right vehicle, the right opportunity. However, you could take that same skill set of story selling and you could apply it to anything, to applying it towards selling a widget, towards helping, local accountant service sell their business, right? But the upside of that would have been so much smaller. And so the thing that you really want to be thinking about, if you have a particular skill that you've been honing over the a number of years, you have an expertise there, is this skill that I'm servicing, is it in this industry, this market, is it undersupplied? Is it in high demand? And is it something that my service can actually move the needle in a demonstrable way? A great example of this is, instead of being a graphic designer for a local landscaping company, if you became the world's best graphic designer for biopharmaceuticals, right? Like where that marketing could help them go from, a 5 million valuation up to 5 billion to 10 billion, right? Like that is a market that has much more upside. And so your your efforts can be more lucratively rewarded. So hopefully this framework gives you another way of thinking about, okay, am I applying my skills in the right vehicle? Maybe you're just in the wrong boat. And maybe it would be easier just to take that boat back to shore, get into a better boat with a better paddle, and start riding that instead. So I hope this brings you guys some value. We'll catch you in the next episode. But until then, stay hyper-focused, my friends.